You're listening to Popcorn and Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to. From political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Politics. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney, along with my co-host, Derek J. Wilson. Good afternoon, Derek.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon. This
You went to
is
church today?
don't put me on the spot like
I'm sorry. My bad.
I look churchy.
You look churchy today. That's why I asked you. I figured I said he got his jacket on. He went to church. I was just
you
asking.
know, the AC is a little chilly,
It is, right? Like, so listen, y'all hear me talk. I don't know, maybe I don't, but I'm always fussing about my smart air conditioning system that's really stupid. Like it's always either one way or the other way. Like it's a smart system, not really, because I'm freezing in my office and I go in my bedroom, I'm burning up, and I go downstairs. You got to put a jacket on downstairs. That's how crazy, but it's smart. So I have to, I don't know. Anyway, I don't even want to get into it. So, listen, guys, welcome to another edition. So, we're happy to be with you today. We got a guest coming up in a minute. But before we get to our guest, we're going to talk about some local news or some national news or some news in general in the political world. And Derek, you want to kick it off, or you want me to kick it off?
Well, which way you want to go? Do you want to be messy or do you want to just report some news right quick? Which
Let's
way you
be
want to go?
messy.
Okay,
Messy
well,
Sunday.
Messy Sunday. So so we all know that Donald Trump uh, supports endorse Purdue for governor. Well, just this past week, former Vice President Mike Pence said, "Nah, I'm endorsing Kemp." So he's supporting Kemp as well as former President George W. Bush. So you know uh, that shows that there's a rip in the Republican Party. So we like rips.
We do. We like ribs. Rip. We like ribs.
So that means a house divided. What they say, a house divided. Chef Hall.
It's so crazy though. I used to sit and wonder when I would watch all of like the newscasts. I didn't even know how Pence could just sit there and just because I felt like Trump punked everybody. Like he punked his whole entire staff, his whole Trump punked everybody, including Pence. And I would just see him and sitting there like, man, like the word I want to say, I can't really say on this show because it's a family show. But where yours at? Like where yours at Pence? Like I wanted to ask him where was his at because Trump would punk them all, even him. And I was just watching like, wow, like I don't know if I could
Well,
stop, sit
Pence
down, like sit back
realized
like that.
on Pence realized on January 6th that yeah, he wasn't part of the team because they was looking for him too.
Yeah.
So we all the same when people come looking for you with torches, you know. So, but on another bash against the other side, former insurance commissioner John Oxendine has been convicted of ethics charges. So that's his say. It say the commission voted to settle the case that has dragged on for 13 years. 13 years now.
Mm.
13 years. So um, yeah, he said he once spent Oxidine of illegally spending nearly $100,000 in campaign donations on a home down payment, fancy cars, athletic clubs, and childcare expenses. Um, yeah,
And yeah, some of those charges include healthcare fraud. That's why we can't get a Medicaid expansion plan going because he done spent up the money. Money laundering. Yeah, so yeah. I
he
mean,
was in office 4 consecutive terms.
wow.
Uh,
Just wreaking havoc over there, just doing
right.
his own thing.
And for the past 25 years, this office has been held by a Republican, uh, and so we have some Democrats that are on this primary that's coming up on Tuesday. So yeah, it's time for a change. And speaking of the primary on Tuesday, these past 3 weeks were early voting, and the state of Georgia, despite these ridiculous new election laws that they put into place, uh, the voting was surging. I mean, they had record turnout over the past 3 weeks, and so this would be great to talk about with our guest who is running to basically run this office, Secretary of State office. So I would love to hear his input about the the people still coming out to vote in spite of all the controversy and the more challenging I believe it has become to vote in the state of Georgia. So I would love to hear his input.
So with that being said, we would like to bring our guest to the stage, Dr. John Eaves. We tried to bring him on week before last, but we had some technical problems. Listen, we love technology, but sometimes technology does not love us, and that's okay, because one thing about that, we can always do a rinse and repeat. So here we are back again today with Dr. John Eaves, who's running for the Georgia Secretary of State position. So welcome to the stage again, Dr. Eaves.
Audrey and Derek, thank you so much for having me and working through the technical challenges, and give me a second chance to be prime time with you today.
Prime time, right before people cast their votes on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So this is perfect. One last hoorah before people cast their votes. So thank you for taking your time out to come see us again.
Of course.
We know that you're busy. We know that you are the position that you're running for is a high position. If any of you guys don't know, that position is the business that you have the position where you have to go and register your small business. And before I get to that, Dr. Eaves, I have to say this, y'all. So last Saturday, my niece graduated from Clark University, and Pinky Cole was the commencement speaker. And one of the things that she said she was going to do was give all of those graduates a LLC. And I was like, oh my God, how cool is that? So small businesses that register in the state of Georgia have to register their small business LLC through the Secretary of State's website. So we're going to talk about small business, but before we do that, I just want Dr. Eaves to get a chance to just give us a little bit of background about who you are and some of the amazing plans. We'll get to the plans after you give us some background about who you are. I know you've served in some high positions for quite a while in Fulton County, and just want the people to know who you are and why you feel like you can run for this particular seat.
Yeah. So thank you for first of all giving me the opportunity to introduce myself to some of your folks who don't know me. So I'm first and foremost a father. As you were talking earlier, Audrey, about I think your niece who is at Clark. My daughter graduated from North Carolina A&T last Saturday, so I'm a proud dad. 2 children. My son is a graduate student at Duke University. Both of them are actually HBCU graduates. So I'm first and foremost a father. I'm a small business owner. So yes, we're going to talk a little bit about small business ownership, the opportunities and challenges. I'm the former regional director of the Peace Corps. I was over the entire southeastern region of the United States. I am a Morehouse man, very proud of that, and have a Ph.D. in education administration from the University of South Carolina, and I have a master's degree from Yale University. And last but not least, as you pointed out, the chairman of Fulton County government, and I know that a large part of your viewership, listening audience is a part of Gwinnett, which is the second largest, most populous county in the state of Georgia, but Fulton County is still number one. And I served for 11 years and very proud of my record, got elected for 3 terms. I was the second Black person ever elected as chairman of Fulton County. And when I was elected in 2006, I was the first Democrat in about 20 years to be elected into this position. People forget that for many years, Republicans were the chair of Fulton County. Karen Handel and Mitch Scandalakis and Mike Ken, they all preceded me. And so while chairman of Fulton County, did a lot in terms of supporting Grady Hospital, criminal justice reform, first ever transportation splosh passed under my watch. We also authorized a $274 million capital campaign project for our library system. And last but not least, I oversaw the largest local voting operation in the state of Georgia. So we have 350 precincts, a $6 to $9 million annual budget. We were one of the first to do Souls to the Polls. Under my watch, I partnered with Congressman John Lewis, and 3 weeks in advance voting. So many people are used to it now, but forget that not too long ago, you only voted on one day. That was election day. So Fulton County was one of the first. I think it was in 2014 that we, or maybe it was either 2014 or 2012. Well, we first did 2 weeks in advance voting and then 3 weeks in advance voting. Well, all of that happened under my watch as chairman of Fulton County. So Audrey and Derek, I'd be more than happy to go into more details about the Secretary of State's position, the various aspects of the position, and my platform during the remaining minutes that we have in today's podcast.
That sounds good. So I know it, that office because I'm a business owner. So I know that every year, right around March, I get the notice saying, hey, it's time to renew your license. But what all does that position entails? What does that office actually do other than register businesses to do business in the state of Georgia?
Yeah, so this morning I was at Zion Hill Baptist Church in South Fulton County, and very dynamic preacher, minister, Reverend Dr. Aaron Parker talked about the position a little bit. He said, most people only think about it in terms of elections. And even then, most people only knew about it with what happened with Brad Raffensperger and Donald Trump 2 years ago. Well, listen, this position is actually one of the most powerful executive positions in the state of Georgia. And it oversees about 4 major operations, and that's plural. The elections division, so chief elections officer for the state of Georgia, oversees the elections in all 159 counties, manages the voter rolls. There are approximately 8 million Georgians who are registered to vote, so that office manages the voting rolls. Then there's the corporations division. Yes, I get notices too in March and even earlier. Pay your registration dues or fees. So all small business owners who want to be legal entities in the state of Georgia to do business transactions legally, you have to register, pay your $100 fee or whatever the fee is. And so that office oversees that. There are 1.1 million small businesses in Georgia. People don't realize this, but there are a lot of people. Georgia has one of the highest number of small business ownership in any other state in the country. So you have the corporations division. Wow. You have licensing. There are 42 different licensing boards. So if you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're an electrician, you're a notary public, you're a financial planner, you have to practice in those professions, you have to have licensing requirements, credentials, so that we as customers and consumers, we want to make sure that our doctors and our nurses are competent in terms of knowledge and skills. And so there are qualifications that you have to meet as a professional, licensing qualifications to be able to practice in the state of Georgia. And then the other major areas, the securities division, these are the financial industry, bank regulatory standards, private equity financing, financial planning and advising. So it's a really big office. And no Black person has ever been elected for this position in the state of Georgia for our entire history. And so what I'm endeavoring to do is historic.
Wow. Well, I didn't realize. I mean, I knew it did the business, and I knew it did elections. I didn't realize it did securities, amongst other things. So that's a real big position. So what made you decide to run to for this position?
Derek, that's a fair but direct question. Simply put, the issue of voting, particularly for Black people, is being challenged. I know you all talked about early voting stats so far this election cycle, which are really good and very high. But the fact is, there truly has been an effort by a Republican Party in the state of Georgia and across the country to disenfranchise Black voters. This isn't just John Eaves speaking. This is the U.S. Justice Department, through its lawsuit that was filed about a year ago, specifically said that Senate Bill 202 was designed to disenfranchise Black voters. So, Derek, the response to your question is I wanted to make sure that the ability for Black and Brown communities, individuals to vote, was going to be protected. In fact, I'm not just Black and Brown. I really want everybody in Georgia, regardless of your race or your partisan affiliation, to be able to vote. So we just want to make sure that it's fair and transparent and accessible. So that's really the main reason why I am running, is because the whole issue of voting right now is still very contentious, and it is being, there are some attempts to really disenfranchise and make difficult for Black and Brown communities to vote.
When they passed that law, a lot of people was upset about that, but we see that the numbers are pretty decent here as far as where people are voting right now. I know one of the things that you were responsible for was making sure souls got to the polls. How has your effort been so far with the new election laws and getting people to get out and vote? Have you gotten a lot of pushback? Have you seen that people didn't know where to actually go and vote because of precinct changes and things like that?
Yeah, so Audrey, I think leading up to the election, really maybe going back to the fall, there certainly was a lot of confusion out there in terms of what did laws mean, not only among voters, but also among voting officials on a county level. So there was a lot of confusion. I think that there has been some degree of education that's occurred, that's been done by voter advocacy groups and churches. I think the faith community has stepped up, and I think local government has done a decent job in terms of informing people about the differences with the rules that have been imposed. I do believe that absentee ballot participation has gone down substantially, not only because of, I think, the comfort of maneuvering with the pandemic, but I think that there still is question about whether absentee balloting is a legitimate way in terms of making sure that when you cast your ballot through mail, it's going to arrive on time and be counted. So I do think that there has been maybe a negative positive, or positive negative way, any way you want to look at it, where more people are actually voting in person and less people voting absentee. But there were some challenges early part of the early voting process where people were going to, even though in the early voting you can vote at certain locations, not your own assigned precinct, but certain designated locations. There were some quirks that were the fault of probably the Secretary of State's office in terms of the software that was being used to assign people to certain areas to get their voter registration cards out there. But I think we kind of worked through a lot of that over the first week, and now it's pretty seamless. I voted on Friday at the C.T. Martin Recreation Center in Northwest Atlanta. A heavy crowd of people were going through, very, very, but in a fluid way, and very little, if any, complaints. And so I think for the past 2 weeks, of course, it's been a 3-week process. The past 2 weeks, it's been pretty good. And I think, as Derek pointed out, it's been record turnout for the 3 weeks of early voting. Most of that's being driven by Republicans who are voting in a very high-profile series of races on the governor's level as well as the Senate level. And so as of Friday, I think about 100,000 plus more Republicans actually voted than Democrats. But for me as a Democrat, I'm not necessarily alarmed by that disparity because I think that come November, when they're competitive races, Democrats going against Republicans and vice versa, I think the Democrats are going to be energizing, going to come out.
Yeah, according to the Washington Post, it said by the end of Friday, the final day of early in-person voting, nearly 800,000 Georgians has cast a ballot. They said that's 3 times the number of 2018, and is even higher than 2020. So, that's wow.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty impressive. And typically, the 3 weeks of early voting, if you add up all the number of people who vote the 3 weeks in advance of election day, that number is doubled, or you have just as many people or slightly more on election day. So it's going to be a pretty high turnout when all is said and done. Midnight of May the 24th. And again, it's going to be more Republicans who have voted, but that doesn't mean I'm not alarmed as a Democrat. It's only because it's a reflection of the less competitive races at the top of the ticket. But I think you're going to have overall record turnout at the end of this election cycle.
And
John,
oh,
go ahead, Derek.
well, just to stir the pot a little bit, uh, you have any response for the current secretary who states that these record numbers basically reiterate what he said from day one, that Georgia's election law balanced security and access, and the fact has proved him right. The fact that the numbers are outrageous, are record breaking.
Yeah, listen, let's stir the pot. I think that there are some folks who give Brad Raffensperger a little bit more credit than he deserves, and he is very political, where he wants to run from problems that are a result of his office, but claim successes that are really not directly related to him. And so I don't think that he should necessarily be applauding and patting himself on the back for the record numbers. He's also saying that voter integrity is better because he has stopped illegal aliens or illegal immigrants from voting. Immigrants who are not citizens already can't vote. And so he's claiming things that that really are a lot disingenuous and frankly dishonest. And early on, as I mentioned to you a little bit in brief, some of the challenges that were experienced the first week of the elections, he was criticizing, Fulton County and some of the other counties for not doing A, B, and C. And those local governments, those county boards, were saying the reason for the problems were because of some of the software that was imposed by the Secretary of State's office. And so, this is election season for him. And so he's going to do all that he can to try to have brownie points so he can gain favor. He was polling less or poor, I say, than his main Republican rival. I think that those numbers have gotten closer as we get closer to election day. But still, as an incumbent, he should be in a much better position than he is right now. And I think he's scrambling to try to figure out how he can improve his chances of reelection, at least on the Republican primary side.
Right.
So that kind of leads me into what I was about to ask. And so he's in that office. What are some of the things that you think that he have failed the Georgia citizens on in that space? Because he's there, and like you said, a lot of people give him a lot of credit, more than what he's due. What are some of the things you think he could have done better that you plan on doing better?
Yeah. Number one, he has not spoken against SB 202. Yes, he's a Republican. Yes, the Republican legislature is the one that implemented that, but he never gave any voice of dissension about any aspect of that law. Number two, maybe it hasn't hit all the news in Atlanta, but there were some attempts by local election boards in Spalding County, Lincoln County, which is east of Atlanta, near Athens, or actually between Athens and Augusta, and Camden County in southeast Georgia, where the local election boards tried to reduce the number of precincts from either 7 to 1 or 5 to 1. And the Secretary of State never stepped up and said this is wrong. And so these local boards who tried to make these decisions, they went back on their decisions because of local activism. And so the difference between me and Raffensperger is that if there are any attempts to make it more difficult and inaccessible for Georgians in a particular county to vote, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna do all that I can to stop it. And so Brad Raffensperger has been completely silent on what's been happening on the local level. And the third thing that I would do is I make this whole process a teamwork, collaborative process. In other words, the Secretary of State should be working in concert with local election boards, and we should have a us or we mentality, meaning we should collectively be working together to make sure that the elections are administered in the best, efficient, transparent, and fair way. And Brad Raffensperger is not a team player when it comes to the local election boards.
Well, there you have it. Uh, so also on the Democratic side, there are several you all that are running for this position of Secretary of State. What makes Dr. Eaves the better candidate or the right candidate for this position?
So let me just say, this is going to be a little different response that you probably would think. There are some good candidates running, very good candidates to run. I'm going to tell you who the very good candidates are.
Okay.
D. Dawkins, former state rep, Floyd Griffin, former state senator, and Michael Owens, who's a former chair of the Cobb County Party. They're very good candidates, all of them very sincere. I didn't name all the candidates, and I'll let you all figure out who else is in running. All right, those three people are very well qualified, and I have great respect for them. And however, and I say this often on the campaign trail, that I'm the only one who has direct experience of elections. So legislators or even chair of a county Democratic Party don't have the experience that I have in terms of overseeing elections and overseeing government at the large level that I have had. I represented a 1.1 million residents in Fulton County, worked with 15 mayors, had a $1 billion budget, and there were 4,500 employees in Fulton County. And the Secretary of State's office has a main office in downtown Atlanta, 2 satellite offices, one in Tifton, one in Macon, has hundreds of employees and a multi-million-dollar budget. Well, I've had all of those experiences on a county level, the largest county government. So I think that those are the areas where I am unique and different. All the other people that I name have varying experiences, but nobody has experience to the extent that I have.
I'm about to be messy. So if your name was not called, you did not make that list. Okay, I'm just being messy.
No, somebody else. It was somebody else. Derek probably know who I'm referring to.
I mean, I know, but we're not gonna. Okay, moving forward.
Moving forward. So I was in there when he was saying that. He said, I did not call everybody's name on the list. And I was like, oh, okay, this is my messy point, my messy moment. On your campaign website, you talk about advocating for small businesses. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, listen, RG, I mean, so the good news is, as I mentioned earlier, 1.1 million small businesses in Georgia, 35% of them are Black owned, which is pretty significant.
Wow.
All right. That's the good news. The bad news is the failure rate of new businesses is 20% in the first year. So in other words, 1 out of 5 businesses that are established in a given year, 1 of them fails in the first year, and then 30% fail in the second year. So 3 out of 10 fail within 2 years. Most businesses fail because of a variety of reasons: lack of capital, cash flow, a revenue stream, lacking the basic ABCs of how to manage and operate a small business. And so as Secretary of State, I'll be very proactive in terms of providing webinars and seminars to help people to be successful small businesses, business owners, the ABCs of, meaning the basics of running a small business, bookkeeping, branding, marketing, etc. But I think the biggest piece to your question that I think can be very helpful is how can we assist small business owners, particularly those who are Black owned, to access capital, whether it's grant programs that are administered on a local level, whether it's Gwinnett County, Fulton County, Cobb County, the city of Atlanta. Many of them have small grants programs, but sometimes Black small business owners don't get those grants because it's just not strong enough. So I want to help them be competitive to receive small grants. And then when there are financing options that sometimes are made available from financial institutions and banks, many times small businesses are not credit worthy. Sometimes they, I think that's really or they lack relationships. And so I'm going to use the power of the Secretary of State's office to bring financial institutions to the table so that they can be a lot more accessible and a lot more cooperative in terms of maybe even alternative credit history or credit protocols or credit expectations for Black business owners. And so I just think that the rules that are in place may not necessarily be as friendly for Black business owners and female business owners. And the last piece is how can the Secretary of State's office work with the Small Business Administration? That's sort of an open-ended question. I don't necessarily have an answer for it, but I do think that there's an opportunity for the state to work with the federal government in terms of supporting small businesses.
It's so funny when you said that. I said to myself, you must have listened to our show, because every candidate that has come on this show, that's always my question. And I was going to say, but you answered it before I could say it. That's why I said you must have listened to this show. There are tons of programs out there right now that, support entrepreneurs by training and development in that space. But we always get back to the same question, like where's the access to capital and how do we find out about it? So I love what you said. But again, I got to ask the question. Because we know that there's money out there. We have heard the Congresswoman say it, we've heard commissioners say it, we know that there's money, but access to that money and the knowing that the money is available is the issue, along with not being prepared to accept the money once we know. How would you get the word out there so we'll know, so small businesses know that this money is here and this is what you need to actually do? Because I think a lot of times, by the time we find out that there's money, it's gone. It has gone to another business, another organization, another nonprofit is gone. And so how would you get the word out there? Well, how proactive and what would you do to get the word out there to these small businesses to let them know this money is available and this is where you should go to get access to that money?
Listen, that's a very fair question. I mean, the unfortunate thing that I experience in our Black communities or in our community is people sometimes don't even try. Or my barber is a wonderful person, a wonderful lady, consummate professional. She didn't even apply for PPP because she was a little nervous about applying for it. And I think, being very deliberate with outreach, providing support, establishing trust with business owners. And I'm not even talking about what's sometimes referred to as the gig economy, GIG, gig economy. These are people who do businesses and it's just sort of informal businesses, cash, and they're not even legal business entities. So I really want to work with those individuals to get them to see the value of being a legal business entity versus, a barber who just cuts hair and receives money, cash, and he or she is not a legal business entity. Or so there's just a lot that I want to do or can be done, I'll say, in terms of outreach, establishing relationships. Also, there are existing businesses out there that already do a good job of reaching out to small business owners. And maybe there's a way that you can work through these individuals and these entities who can extend the reach in terms of the number of people who are helped. And I'm not sure if I'm clear on what I'm trying to describe, but basically there may be a John Doe or Sally Ann, let's say, agency that already works with small business owners. But if the Secretary of State had resources to further empower that agency to reach out to more, you get the job done. And so I think there's just a lot of creative ways, because the sad reality is, and this whole stimulus situation that happened during the pandemic, where all these billions of dollars that were made available, and they were really designed to help small business owners, many of whom were Black owned and female owned. A disproportionate number of Black and female owners got a smaller portion, got what they should have gotten, and that's just unfair, and that's wrong. And so I want to do all that I can to make sure that those individuals who are deserving and don't have an advocate really get supported.
Great. I mean, that was a great response. So, as the business uh, czar for the state, as Secretary of State, what could the Secretary of State office do in helping areas in South Georgia, Albany, areas where is especially in Albany, as an example, their poverty level is one of the highest in the country, not the state, the country. Every time I see an article about some of the poorest areas in the country, Albany is always in that top 10, if not top 5 list. But then South Georgia always, not always, but a lot of times South Georgia feel like they're, not being heard on the state level. Is always the metro Atlanta area, and then you may get Macon and Columbus, but when you get past that, Valdosta, Savannah, they may feel like they left out. So what would your office do to make sure that the south part of the state is heard and get services from your office in particular? Uh,
Well, listen, another great question. So a couple things. I will say that for me, having campaigned across the state of Georgia, I've actually learned a lot as a result of going out and campaigning. I've been to many of those areas you were describing. I've been to Albany. I've been to Camden County, which is, um, a Woodbine, and I've been to Brunswick, and I've been to Valdosta. And certainly is another side of Georgia outside of Atlanta, and their needs are much different from what we have in Metro Atlanta. And so I think there are a couple of things. Number one is just being aware and understanding some of the nuances, and understanding that Georgia is more than Atlanta, and really responding to those areas outside of Atlanta. You didn't even mention North Georgia. North Georgia has another set of challenges. So I think number one, being mindful. And then even structurally, I've come to find out that there's an office, the 2 offices. So the Secretary of State's office is supposed to have 5 different offices around the state. Only 3 of them are functional. One of them, I believe, is supposed to be in Waycross. And I will make sure that that office is open so that it can serve the people in the southern part of Georgia. And then you got the southwest part of Georgia. So I think there's a way that you can have a better distribution of outreach and support, and being able to better meet the needs of those individuals outside of Georgia, especially in South Georgia. But I do see that the small business ownership piece is something that I can do that can really help people around the state. And let me mention one other thing, and hopefully we can elaborate on this more. Gwinnett County is actually doing something, and I commend Chairwoman, I think Nicole Love, Hendrick Love, or Love Hendrick.
Love Hendricks.
Love Hendrick. So they're doing something like an equity study. And Fulton County did that my last year in office. We called it a disparity study, and we wanted to make sure that Black business owners, companies, were receiving contracts from Fulton County that was commensurate with the population. I know that sounds, I'm an academic, I'm a teacher, so I'll use a lot of big words sometimes. And basically what it means is you want to make sure that the Black population, or the contracts that are distributed or granted by government, matches up with the demographics of the population. All right. So if in the state of Georgia, very few Black business owners get contracts from the state of Georgia and local government. And that is an example of economic injustice. Under my administration, I'm going to do all that I can to make sure that the playing field is level so that Black businesses, whether you're in Metro Atlanta, whether you're in Dougherty County, whether you're in Camden County, they have the opportunity to access and receive and compete for contracts by those local governments and state governments, and make sure that the awarding of contracts are a match with the population of the state of Georgia. And so very few people talk about that. It is an absolute injustice in this state where Black people are 32% of the population, 49% of the population is non-white. But when it comes down to the procurement of contracts in the low single digits, that's just unacceptable. And we can't keep pointing to the economic inequalities in our society that are along race, and then not tackle the systemic structures that are in place that make the inequalities possible. And so this is just one of many ways and one of many areas that I believe the Secretary of State's office can really address a wrong. And so I'm rambling a little bit, but I hope you understand the point. There's a lot, Derek and Audrey, that this office can do to not only serve people throughout the state of Georgia in a more impactful way, but it's also an office that can address issues of inequalities that are practiced and people don't even pay much attention to. We just accept it, and it's wrong.
You know, I want to ask you a question. So Albany, Georgia is my home. That's where I was born. And I go down there quite often to visit my family. And my cousin sent me, because everybody know that, you know, I'm all about the small businesses. I'm all about economic development and empowerment and all that stuff. So my cousin sent me an article where the Family Dollar got a license to sell liquor inside of the Family Dollar. And I was like, why would someone want to sell liquor inside of the family? I thought that was crazy. Now, is that would be something that would go through your office? Is there ever a time when a license would not get approved? Because I would not have approved the license. Had I been in that office, it wouldn't have got approved.
Yeah.
Because I just felt like that wasn't the place for liquor to be sold. And I get it. They're trying to boost the economy, but a Family Dollar selling liquor, to me that's not it. So is there ever a time that you know of that a license could get blocked?
Yeah. So local government is the one that issues what's called liquor licenses. So whether it's a restaurant or a liquor store or a convenience store, the liquor license to sell those liquor is granted by local government. So that's really at the feet of the Albany city commissioners who made that decision. And I actually have met one or two of the city commissioners as well as the county commissioners down there. So that's a city issue. But you actually, though, are hitting at something that I don't know yet. So the Secretary of State's office incorporates businesses in Family Dollars. Right now, there's no sort of requirements that are really there.
Oh, you went out.
Your mic is off. John, your mic is off.
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
You know, your name and your address, you pay your fee, and you say who the registered agent is. You identify whether you're LLC, a C Corp, or a corporation, or whatever. That's all you do, and you turn it in. If you complete the form correctly, you're granted articles of incorporation. Now, I'm not always for a bunch of bureaucracy, but there may be a way that the Secretary of State's office can establish some standards, but I don't know. But getting to your question, really, that's really a city function in terms of granting liquor license.
Okay. Yeah, I thought that was pretty crazy when I saw that. And of course, they sent it to me because they know I would think it was pretty crazy. So I thank you so much. How can people reach out to you if they want to support the campaign? For you, listen, get out and vote. You got what, 2 days left? Well, yeah,
Well, one
Monday,
day.
tomorrow. Well, 2 days, tomorrow and Tuesday, to get out and vote. How can they reach out to you?
Well, no, Tuesday is the only. Monday is not you can't vote on Monday.
Right.
You can't vote on Monday?
No.
Oh, yeah. Okay, right. I'm thinking, yeah. Yep, you only got Tuesday.
Yeah, that's okay. So early voting went from May the 2nd, Monday, May the 2nd through Friday, May the 20th. As Derek was implying, sort of a little bit of a quiet period between so Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Then boom, election day is Tuesday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So there's the Secretary of State's office has a website called or a page called My Voter Page, MVP. So anyone who's not clear on where their precinct location should go to the Secretary of State's website. You can Google it, but it's My Voter Page, MVP, My Voter Page. In terms of my particular campaign, my website is John Eaves, EAVES, 4FOR, Georgia, GEORGIA.com. I certainly welcome anybody in your listening audience to reach out to my office, reach out to me by way of my website, as well as make a contribution to my campaign. Certainly would love to get your vote, especially. Election day is going to be probably well attended, high voter turnout, non-conventional in terms of a primary. When I say non-conventional, it's unusual to have this high number in a primary in a non-presidential year. But I think there's going to be a lot of people showing up on Tuesday, and that's great. The more people voting, the more stronger our democracy is. And I think that the voter turnout is a demonstration of the spirit of Georgians, despite the shenanigans that have occurred, completely unnecessary laws that were passed. People still are coming out to vote. And I encourage all Georgians, black or white, Democrat, Republican, vote and let the chips fall where they may in terms of who wins and who doesn't win. So I certainly consider this a pleasure and an honor to be a part of your podcast. And thank you for working out some of the technical challenges we had a week or so ago. But this has really been good. And you've all both asked some very thoughtful questions.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate you wanting to fight more for us. And thank you for taking the time to share your platform with us and your ideas. We appreciate you as well.
Well, thank you again. And you'll have a great day and keep on doing what you're doing. So, popcorn and politics. My only question is, where's the popcorn?
I know. We'll tell you that story after you win. We'll tell you that story. Because we hope you come back after you win. So we want the first interview. So we're putting it out there right now.
Well, good job.
So thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Are you going to watch the playoffs right now? Or are you done for the day?
Derek knows this is, it's never a day off in politics, man. When you
you running these next couple of days.
No playoffs for you. Okay. Well, catch the post game tomorrow at 10 a.m. on Good Morning Gwinnett. Post game roundup. Had to get that shameless plug. Thank you again, John. Good luck on your campaign, and we'll talk to you after the election.
Okay, my pleasure. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. So,
all right, listen, guys. That was Dr. John Eaves. We had him on the show talking about the Secretary of State position. If you want to vote for him, be sure to go do that. We got a new guest coming up in a minute. She's not really new because she was on here before, but she wants to give you guys a shout out one last time before Tuesday. And Derek, it's so funny when he was talking about the small business piece. I said he watched our show.
Yeah.
Because everybody know I'm coming to the small businesses because listen, small businesses are near and dear to my heart. So anything I can do and try to understand how to make us stronger as we grow these businesses, I'm going to do and talk about. So speaking of talking about and doing, be sure to come out this Tuesday at 11 a.m. to the Hampton. No, it's 11. It is 11, right?
Oh yeah,
11:30.
11:30.
11:30. 11:30. If you're in the Gwinnett area, Snellville specifically, please join us at 11:30 on Tuesday at the Hampton Inn as we get together for brunch and finding out how to get local government contracts. This event is sponsored by the Greater East Side Chamber of Commerce. So if you want to come out, go to mygecc.org, mygecc.org, and you can find out more about that event for this coming Tuesday. Come out, network, have some great food. Last month we had some really good food. Like I like shrimp and grits. Everybody know I like. Well, maybe you guys don't know because I don't talk a lot about. I don't talk a lot about what I do on this show. But if you're listening tomorrow at 10 a.m., ain't no telling what you're gonna hear. But anyway, I like shrimp and grits. And so our caterer made some slamming food. We had a lot of food too. So it's brunch. So you get lunch and breakfast. That's why they call it brunch. Right, lunch and breakfast. Right. That's how you got it. So join us this coming Tuesday at 11:30 at the Hampton Inn, located in Snellville, as we get together, network over some great food, and find out about how to get government contracts. So I see that our special guest has popped in with us today. She is no stranger to anybody, for real, not to anybody. So I'm happy to have her back. So let's add State Representative Don McLeod to the show. Welcome again, sister.
Hello, guys. How are you? Is everybody excited about Election Day? Woo-hoo!
Yeah, we are. We are excited. You know, American Radio One. Shout out to American Radio One. They wanted to know where we're going to broadcast live, and I have not answered them yet because I don't. They want to know we're going to broadcast live on Tuesday, and I haven't answered them yet because I don't know if we're going to broadcast live on Tuesday. They want an election update, so I think I'm going to figure out how to do that. So, just to get, I don't know where to get the stats from, so that's why I haven't said yes. So where will we find the stats from so we'll know what to tell the people on Tuesday?
Actually, so the Secretary of State website should have the stats. Local counties might be a little bit faster in some ways, but they're the ones that send in the data to the Secretary of State website. So that would be the sos.ga.gov.
Okay.
So I think that would be the best place. And if you're looking for individual counties, you can go to the individual counties website, and they should have their stuff updated. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, word on the street is you're running for something.
Word on the street is that I am running to be the next congressional representative from District 7, and it covers most of Gwinnett County and Johns Creek in Fulton County.
Oh wow!
I know the seventh, and the seventh knows me.
You know, it was so funny because I was looking at I was on some news site and your ad popped up, and that's exactly what it said. I know the 7th and 7th knows me. You know, it was heartbreaking to see that we had 3 powerful Democrats that had to run against each other. For me, it was women. That was a little bit heart-wrenching for me because I was like, oh man. So, and I know that was probably a tough race for everybody, but what do you want to tell at the final hour? You know, what do you want to say to the people that are watching right now and that will continue to watch like after today?
I want people to make sure they're getting out to vote because the government is about them and how we use your tax dollars on your behalf, and who's at the table is going to determine, do you get the services you need with your tax dollars? This is not a profit making, right? Because if you want profit, you're going to be an independent contractor or business owner, and then you can sell your goods and services and get a profit. The government collects your taxes and you deserve a return on investment. I am the only candidate in this race that actually lives in the 7th Congressional District for the last 22 years. I am responsible for registering over 30,000 people in this district. The reason why we were able to turn this blue is because if you're not registered, you can't vote. And so by registering people, we were able to get people to vote. In fact, Gwinnett County now has over 600,000 people registered to vote in a county that's about 1 million. That's pretty high. And that's because we made conscious effort over the last decade to make sure that people got registered. When it came time for extended voting, me and 2 other Black women, we attended the Board of Elections meeting every 3rd Tuesday to ensure that we got extended early vote. And you know what? Souls to the polls, we made that happen. The fact that you can drive by a polling location and actually know it's a polling location because there's flags and things, believe it or not, we had to push for that as well. So that wasn't like easy to go. In order to change the trajectory for Gwinnett County, we actually had to get people to run for office, get them to put their name on the ballot against the Republican, because at that time, no one was running against the Republican. And I remind people in Gwinnett County that the first people of color elected was 2018, 200 years later. So I want people to know some historical context of this race and the reason why I feel that I'm the best person to serve this district. It is the most diverse district in the state of Georgia and probably in the Southeast. And as a person who came here, like so many of the other folks that I live amongst, this is unique. And we have to be intentional on making sure that we got along, because we have the Koreans in one part, we have the Hispanic in one part, we have the Africans and the Caribbean folks in one part, we have the Bangladeshi and the Muslims, and we've got Jewish, we've got all things. And we made a conscious effort to reach out to everyone so that we had a county that wasn't in rivalry with each other, that we coexist together. And again, this took work. Everybody's coming in now and want to take a piece of it. I am sorry that Lucy McBath they shift out 350,000 people out of the 6th congressional district, but she still lives in the 6th congressional district. She has not made any effort to really learn about the people in the 7th congressional district, and they're not like the people in the 6th, I can assure you. So at the end of the day, and with Carolyn Bordeaux, we gave her an opportunity. We sure did. We elected her. Me and several other people worked to get her elected. She went up there, and instead of working with the party to make sure that Build Back Better passed without a whole bunch of nonsense, she decided to go and join a moderate caucus and basically defer attention from Build Back Better, which was an excellent piece of legislation. And what did I say about our government? That is about you getting a return on investment, having universal pre-K, getting paid family leave, getting child tax credit. Those are all things if you really care about family. There's one thing to build the infrastructure with pouring concrete and asphalt, but there's also a human infrastructure part. And that is what she missed. And at the end of the day, you got an opportunity, you blew it, and it's time for me to step in to really serve the people of the 7th, because I live here. The only reason I didn't run for the 7th before was because it was in Forsyth County. And we know people of color was going to be a difficult time for us to win. So we as Democratic folks that believe in the party policies and platform, we pulled back and helped somebody we think could flip the seat, because it was in Forsyth, because there were white women in Forsyth that we think she could relate to more. We pulled ourselves back, but it's no longer that situation. The district has changed, and it looks more like me and what I stand for and the immigrant populations that here. And I think that's why I know the 7th, and the 7th knows me.
Well, I got a quick question for you, because you know the Gwinnett, that district has a lot of small businesses in it, and
Yes.
You know small business are near and dear to my. If you don't know, everybody should know by now. They're small, near and dear to my heart. I don't know if you just watched the last episode with Dr. Eaves, but so we're still trying to grow. We're still very small. And Carolyn has said that she's done some things for small businesses. She's also said that there was money that were available that we didn't have access to, and we should rub shoulders and elbows. How, if you are elected to that seat, how will you help us find that money? Because rubbing shoulders and bumping elbows, who are we rubbing shoulders and bumping elbows with? How will you help us find the access to capital that people keep telling small businesses that's there, but nobody's telling us exactly how to go get it?
So first of all, the fact that you're elected, you should be able to do that job and know what is available. You ask the question, you get your staff to do that homework. So it is not, I'm not going to try to say it's nothing extraordinary, but it's the same thing that we do in the state level. We make sure that we find out what is needed. In fact, right now, I'm actually addressing a neighbor who's having some financial issues that I'm trying to get some funds for right here. When two of the businesses in my district was going to go belly up during COVID, I got them money so that they could stay afloat. And today they are thriving, and they're still there after 15. One of them has been there for 15 years. The other one has been there for 13 years, and they're still there. So if you truly are in the service of in the business of serving others, you will make sure that you get things. I think Carolyn also forgets that she left $1.75 trillion on the table as well, right? Yes, that's the Build Back Better. So at the end of the day, you can say, I brought this amount of money, but you're not talking about the money that you actually left on the table as well. So there is money. This is a taxpayer dollars. And that's what I was talking about, getting that return on investment for the taxpayer, because they're paying those taxes.
Yeah, and that's important.
The money's just taxes. She's not getting the money. The money is being played by us. And so as an elected official, we're supposed to look at the money and say, well, how can I best serve the people that I'm representing and giving them a return on investment? So she's not taking down, writing a check out of her pocket. She's taking the people's money, and how we allocate the people's money. That's what true leadership is about in government.
Well, the person that you helped, I'm sure they're very grateful for you helping them save their business. Like that is, I can't see myself doing anything other than being an entrepreneur. So I'm sure they probably feel the same way. So I'm sure they're very grateful that you actually helped them save their business. And there are more businesses out there that are struggling, that need help and need help to be saved. So prayerfully, we'll get that. We'll get that access to capital, and we'll get the help to help save more small businesses as we move forward. How can people reach out to you?
Audrey, I want to say also, I'm a small business owner myself. I've got a nonprofit and a for-profit as a consultant. And so I know what small businesses go through. So I'm no stranger to that. And like I said, I live here. I'm amongst the people. So I get it firsthand. Most people can even text me on my phone.
That's right.
Well, awesome.
Speaking of texting you, how can they reach out to you?
Yes, so go to donnamccloud.com. And as you know, election day is Tuesday. We're looking for as much help as possible. Please go to my website, donnamccloud.com, and sign up for sign waiving, anything you'd like to do. If you still want to donate money, we'll be definitely grateful for that. So again, contact me at donnamccloud.com and you will get a response. I promise you that.
Well, thank you
so much, Donna.
Thank you so much for this surprise drop in.
And Derek is my campaign manager, so I just want to give him a shout out for sticking with me and making our campaign look the professional that it is. For very little, we are working against $4 million, but you would think that we had $6 million the way we look. We had not collected not that much. Trust me on that. But we are committed to Donna McLeod for Congress and doing the work on behalf of the people.
That's that grassroots entrepreneurial spirit. We can make $1 out of 15 cents. You know how that is.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you. Now, we do have another guest. So as we try to, it's the last push before election day. So we want to thank you for coming on this last minute and wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
Thank you,
guys.
Good luck. You're welcome. Bye-bye.
Find your polling location. mvp.sos.ga.gov.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, Dad. We got another guest coming in.
Yes. Now, so as I mentioned earlier, as we talked about the former insurance commissioner, so now there's two of them. So they're setting records here. So now there's two former insurance commissioners that has been found to be unethical, then went to trial, then found some some guilties. And so I said that we had some great Democratic candidates on the side. Well, we have one of those candidates that's on now, Miss Janice Laws Robinson. How are you today?
Good. I'm in. I just hopped in my car. I'm trying to set up because you just asked me, can I jump on? I am doing some last minute campaigning. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. We know that this is hot. The election is in 2 days. Candidates are all over the place. So I appreciate you being able to jump on real quick just to give a shout out about your campaign, how they can reach you, and the whole night.
Thanks, Derek. Thanks, Audrey. Thank you guys for this amazing platform that you have created. Thanks for the invitation to come on. I am Janice Laws Robinson, and as you know, I am your 2018 Democratic nominee for Insurance Commissioner, and I am running again so we can finish what we started in 2018 and make me your next Georgia Insurance Commissioner. As Derek said, we have had nothing but corruption in this office, and it's time to have real ethical leadership. So I will bring my 2 decades of experience in the insurance industry. As many of you know, been a licensed insurance professional, work with Georgia families just like you to save money on your insurance, to protect your lives. And that's what I will continue to do as your insurance commissioner. I will make you proud. I ask you for your votes on May 24th so that we can have affordable auto insurance rates in Georgia. You know, we have some of the highest auto insurance rates in the country, some of the highest rate increases in the country, and that's got to stop. But that will only stop when you have an insurance commissioner that care about you and is very well connected to what you are dealing with. I'm that candidate. I've worked with you. I know what you're dealing with. I am committed to you and your family to fight the good fight. So make sure you let your votes count so we can have affordable auto insurance. We can have access to quality, affordable health care and health insurance, and we can hold insurance companies accountable.
Janice, I got a quick question for you. Now, I see your experience in the insurance industry as a plus, but some people may not see that as a plus. They may see that as a negative because you are in the insurance industry. What do you say to that person that say, you know what, she's in the insurance industry, you know, she could be tainted by the insurance industry because she's in that industry? I say it as a plus because I look at it as an experience. What do you say to that person?
I say to that person, you wouldn't want someone running for attorney general that's not an attorney. You wouldn't want someone running for any other office that is not qualified for that office. So the fact that this office says insurance commissioner, you want to have someone that has experience in insurance. So I think it's a plus. And I also want to say that my connection to the industry is with the people that I serve. So I'm a broker. And as you know, with insurance brokers, we work with families. We work with the people, finding them the best rates. Insurance brokers are the only people that are not directly working for the insurance industry. Insurance brokers work for their clients. So that's what's separate and distinct about me, is that I am licensed, I'm credentialed. So that means I know about insurance. I understand how insurance works because insurance is complex. However, I'm not tied to the insurance industry. I'm not an executive. I don't get paid by the industry. I get paid through my clients and for my clients. So that's the difference. So there's a difference between the insurance industry insider, who's someone that's been paid by the industry to do their bidding. That's different than an insurance broker who's working with Georgia families to make sure they're protected, to save them money, that will take time out of their lives 2 times in a row to fight for affordable rates. That's commitment. So that's what I will say.
So now you're a broker, and should you be fortunate enough to win this position, what happens to your company? Who runs the company? Well, it's like when the president, he has to sign everything over. Is that how that works? Because I know this is a very high profile position.
Yeah. So when you're insurance commissioner, you have to submit your licenses and suspend them. You can't have an active license. You can't do actual business. So there's no conflict of interest there once I become insurance commissioner.
You know, once you become insurance commissioner,
I see them popping in from everywhere. Derek got everybody popping in today. I'm looking like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Listen, thank you. I wish I had met you sooner. I did not. But I wish you all the luck in your race. And how can they reach out to you?
So visit Janice, JANICE, FOR, Georgia, spelled out.com. So JaniceforGeorgia.com. Look, check out my platform, vote. Over 1.8 million Georgians trusted me in 2018. I'm here again. So no endorsement beats 1.8 million Georgians. That's the best endorsement I can ever ask for. So thank you so much. Vote, vote, vote.
Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, Derek and Audrey. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
No problem. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Bye-bye.
I feel like we're doing a roll call right now. You didn't tell me we had all these people jumping in today.
Hey, look.
Bring up the next one. Introduce the next one. Keep them rolling.
All right, so we have our very own Miss Karen Scott Green. She's running for Superior Court judge in Gwinnett County, and she'll be able to tell us what is a Superior Court judge and why she's qualified and why we need to vote for her on May 24th.
Hi, Derek. Hi, Audrey. I'm Karen Scott Green. I'm running for Gwinnett County Superior Court Judge, as you said. And the Superior Court Judge is the highest court in the county. The Superior Court Judge hears family law matters, felony matters, anything dealing with equity. So if you have an issue before the Superior Court where you need the court to make a declaration about an issue that you have, say for instance, if you need to know where your boundary lines are, that's what the Superior Court does. And also if you need someone to stop doing something, you need a restraining order issued, that is what your Superior Court Judge does. And so we are right up under the Court of Appeals. So if you have a decision that you don't like from a Superior Court Judge, that goes to the Court of Appeals or it goes to the Georgia Supreme Court, depending upon what the issue is. So that's what the Superior Court Judge does. And I am qualified because I've been an attorney for 27 years. And I have worked in civil, criminal, family, bankruptcy, real estate, juvenile, pretty much you name it, I've had a hand in it with the exception of probate. So that's why I'm running, because I'm qualified, and I'm also running because I have a passion for young people. And as we've spoken about before, I want to see an end to the school to prison pipeline, and I want to be a cog in the wheel in that pipeline. And so
Karen, I got a quick question for you. I was in a meeting on Thursday, and everybody in law enforcement, they want to address the reentry people, right? They want to keep them from going back to jail. Do you have any plans to address that population as it pertains to reentry? Because I know that a lot of people go and they get locked up, they spend time in there, and when they come back out, they can't really adjust to the outside world, again. Do you have any plans for how to support that group of people when they come home?
So, Audrey, there are programs right now that have already been created, reentry programs. So we don't need to reinvent the wheel. Several counties have reentry programs, and we can tap into what's already been done and what systems are already using. So Gwinnett doesn't need to reinvent the wheel. And if we tap into those programs, I am in support of reentry programs because we want people to come back. We want them to be able to find jobs because once they have a felony conviction, we know that the chances of them being able to find employment, being able to find housing, because if you have a felony, some places won't even rent to you. So we need to have programs, and there are programs. We just need to make sure that they're expanded more, that there's funding for them. I can't do anything about funding. You and Derek, as citizens, can lobby your legislatures, can lobby the Georgia legislature for more funding. But there are programs that are already in place, and we just need to tap into them and make sure that they are widespread and that they have appropriate funding.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Well, I do appreciate you coming on. I know you say you was in the middle of brunch with your family. So
actually, it was a brunch meet and greet at the tavern at the Mall of Georgia. So they hosted a meet and greet for me and another candidate, Andre Johnson, who's also running for Superior Court in Division 2. We were here as their guest, and that's what we were doing. So I was trying to wrap that up.
Oh, well, I do appreciate you taking the time out to to speak to us and our audience. And how can our audience reach out to you to learn more? To learn more information so they can have a educated vote on the 24th in 2 days.
So they can go to my website at KarenScottGreen.com. And also a little tool that I just found out actually the other day is they can go to ballotready.org, BALLOTREADY.org, and they can find out when they put in their address, they can get a sample ballot and find out who's on the ballot and get information about that candidate. So it gives information about their education and what their platform is. So go to ballotready.org and find out who's on your ballot and learn a little bit more about those candidates. So those are the two things I would recommend. And vote for me on Tuesday.
All right. Thank you so much again. So hope you had a great brunch. I'm starving. I didn't have brunch yet.
And also, for those who don't know, in Gwinnett County, her race is a nonpartisan race, so she'll be on every ballot, whether it's the Republican ballot, the Democrat ballot, or if you just pull a nonpartisan ballot, she will be on those ballots
That's right.
in
Thank you,
Gwinnett
Derek.
County.
Thank you, Audrey.
All
Thank you.
right.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
I,
Thank you. Have a good day.
All
you
Bye-bye.
right.
too. Thank.
Bye bye.
I see our other guest stuck around, so let me see if she want to say anything before we let her go. Before we end the program. Hey,
I just wanted to see who we were having surprise with, and both all the candidates that showed up are excellent candidates for everybody to vote for. I'm actually checking out ballot ready. I might post that and tweet that out too for everybody. So again, please vote. Again, this is about your democracy. We're in trouble, and as a state legislator, I saw the kind of bills that was being put forward. We do not want this kind of nonsense. So go down the ballot, all the way down the ballot. Do your research, get that sample ballot, do your research, and vote. Vote because our lives all depend on it. Because remember, knowledge is the most powerful thing you give to yourself, but the vote is the most powerful thing we give to each other.
Thank
wow.
you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Bye,
And
guys.
on that note, we shall say love be. Listen, woo, we had a fun-filled packed day today. I didn't know anything about it, but I'm glad we did. Derek just snuck that in. He didn't ask me, just snuck it in. I'm like, wait a minute, why all these people popping up in the green room? Like, what's going on here? But anyway, listen, go
Election
out,
coming up.
huh?
You have an election coming up in 2 days, so
Listen,
you
they
know.
got it. Listen, you got to get your message out there. And people,
Yeah.
listen, people be sleeping on podcasts. Do not sleep on podcasting. Podcasting is powerful. Let me tell y'all something. I'm gonna give y'all my plan if I was running. Hint, hint, maybe one day. If I was running, you would see me every Sunday at 1 o'clock. Like that, then you, Derek.
Yeah.
Listen, thank you guys for listening. You could have been anywhere, but y'all spent the last hour and 17 minutes with us. We appreciate you. We'll be back again next week to give you the results. Now, here's the thing. After next Sunday, Derek and I are taking a hiatus. We're gonna come back. The show's gonna be better in the fall than it's been this year. We got some good stuff coming down the pipe, and we are excited about. We got some great people coming on the show. So, but we'll be back here next Sunday because we got to talk about the results from Tuesday. So we got to come back.
Yes.
Then after that, we're
Yeah.
gonna take a little bit of a hiatus because listen, I
Summer
talk a lot.
vacation. Summer vacation.
Summer vacation. Derek is going on vacation. I'm not going on vacation. I'll just be doing some other work while I'm not talking to you guys on Sunday. So just know I'm not. He's the mogul. He's a young mogul. I still got to do other stuff on Sunday. Why he gonna be traveling, going to Mexico and New Orleans and all these different places. So I'm just kidding
No
y'all.
one is going to Mexico, but I will be going to New Orleans as well as
See?
so we're taking a road trip this summer, the
Uh-huh.
family. We're gonna go to
Please.
Memphis. We're gonna go to Branson, Missouri, and we're gonna go to Kansas City, Missouri. And so we're gonna have fun this summer with with the family, my wife and the kids. And so it's gonna be a awesome summer. And I will be meeting with Audrey to discuss how we can make this show even better, as well as potential guests. And when I say I got some people that I want to interview, and they right there in reach. Just hang on. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah. Listen, we know that our show is a community service because it gives you the opportunity to hear from candidates and leaders who are already in those positions, and it gives you can learn about what those offices do. So we know that this is a great show to do that. When I started the show and I asked Derek to partner with me, one of our main goals was to educate you about who you should be voting for, who you need to vote for, who you want to vote for, why you vote for, and what does the office mean. So we know that this is an educational show. And listen, if you feel so in your heart to support this show, go to popcornandpolitics.com and support this show. We
Yeah.
get that often. Oh, this is a great show. Support the show. That's
Support
all
the
I gotta
show.
say. Listen, I'm in rare form today. Anytime I get a lot of rest, I am in rare form, which I am. I got a lot of rest. But Derek, thanks again for co-hosting with me. That was really cool to see all those people pop up like that. I was like, wait a minute. So that was really cool. So
Yeah.
thanks again. He
And
didn't tell me y'all. They were just
if
they
we
just
go
popped
live
up.
on Tuesday, we may have some more pop-ups. Just
Well, I'm gonna go live on Tuesday. I'm gonna go live, so I'm gonna reach out to American One Radio and let them know I will be going live. I'm gonna go live probably about 7 o'clock. That's a good time. About 7 because
Well, yeah, that's when the polls close.
yeah, well, that's when. So we'll be doing some commentary. So I'm gonna pop you in so you can tell me what's going on, where you gonna be at, and then I'll check out all the polls and see who's doing what in that space. Oh my God, that's gonna be amazing. So I gotta tell Jeremy, yes, I'm going live. Because I gotta see who's gonna be Purdue or Kent, who's gonna be Donna, McLucy, or Carolyn. That's gonna be serious. So I'm gonna go live. So Tuesday night I will be live. I said next Sunday, but actually I will be live Tuesday around 7. So be sure to tune in Tuesday around 7 as I bring you the stats as they roll in. I'm gonna feel like the guy at the big board. I need a big board behind me so y'all can be doing with the marker. Like, look where we are. Maybe next season. Maybe next season, Derek.
Well, I guarantee you, after next season, we will have some sponsors.
We will.
That's our plan. So we definitely coming hard.
Coming hard. Great. But we ain't gone yet. We have not left you yet. We still got Tuesday and next Sunday. So you guys listen, y'all enjoy the rest of y'all Sunday. I know the playoffs.
Did y'all miss us last week? I know y'all missed us last week.
I know, man. Let me tell y'all something. I was up at Callaway Gardens. I ain't gonna tell you what I thought about the situation. I am gonna tell you that I did. It was peaceful. I'm gonna say that. It was peaceful. It was very nature oriented. It was peaceful. That's all I'm gonna say. But anyway, thank you, Derek, again. We'll be back again. I'll be back again on Tuesday, around 7 o'clock, 6:30, 7 o'clock, to bring you live results right here in Georgia about what's happening in the world of politics and who's who and what's happening. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. I'm about to go watch the playoffs. And until next time, my friends, until next time, y'all make it a great day. Bye now.
You've been listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your family and friends. To support the show, visit us on the web at www.popcorninpolitics.com. Connect with us on Facebook at Progressive Popcorn and on Instagram at Popcorn Politics Podcast.